Call the meeting to order. Budget Committee, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. We have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public input. No public input. Your package included 2 sets of minutes, actually no, 1 set of minutes, the November 18th, 2025 minutes. Did anybody have any comments, thoughts?
I found them to be wonderful. I'd make a motion to accept as written. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
One abstention.
1 abstention. 5-0-1. Yep. And then we had the November 18th, 2025 non-public minutes that are floating around here. So we had a chance to look at them.
What are you looking for, Chris?
I also have my copy.
There, there's only one copy.
Good. That's why I don't have it.
I already have, thank you.
All right. Do we have any thoughts, questions? Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I make the motion to approve the non-public minutes of 11/18/2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 1. 5-0-1.
And they are currently not sealed, correct?
No, sealed.
Okay.
Just a quick, I'm gonna have a quick comment, chairman and member comments. I don't know whether you're all looking at this sheet of paper that's coming out, which is sort of tracking where we are against the budget to date. And so right now, if you just sort of run your eye down the 2026 budget request and you look at what's been approved by the selectmen, you know, we're looking at somewhere between a 7.5% to an 8% increase in expenses for the town for 2026 over the budget and appropriated amount for 2025.
This is just the operating budget.
This is just the operating budget. Yeah. So, you know, we're going through in detail and we are working hard on these numbers. But I think as we continue to look at budgets, we need to look at it in the context of, you know, what I think is a sizable increase that we as the budget committee will have to justify to the town and to the voters. So make sure that we're all very comfortable with everything that we approve in this budget. Any questions, thoughts? Oh, okay. Any other comments? I'm going to put the open requested items to the bottom for now. We're going to go through a lot of those as we go through. So now I'd like to move on to budget under agenda item number 7. Budget items for approval. So fire and rescue, you should receive a revised sheet that actually reflects what we looked at last time when Chief Thompson was here and went through what he'd adjusted. So basically there was the original budget that the fire department put together of $827,000. The selectmen adjusted that budget to $793,326, and the fire department went back and were able to bring in an additional $15,000 worth of savings. Those items are reflected in the budget committee column to be approved. And I think the most significant of those was on the FD shift coverage, fire department shift coverage, which was really the, I was going to call it a retainer, it's not a retainer, but it's a stipend. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Chief?
We were not able to take out the whole $25,000 that I felt was requested, because we would do away with that whole stipend type of thing and not be able to see if it actually works.
Right.
But that will allow us to get a period of time to start and see if it actually works and where we go from there.
Great. Well, you know, for me personally speaking, I really appreciate the effort. Number one, your budget was, amazing, really detailed, incredibly thoughtful. And then obviously going back and taking a look again was appreciated. So
I know that as far as numbers wise, we're, as far as tracking this year's numbers, we're going to be really close to what we had projected last year, and then it was cut from there. Especially vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance has been a thorn in our side as far as the as you go through, you will, if you see the paperwork down the line as far as the end totals,
Yeah.
you'll see what I'm talking about.
And so we do look at that in some detail as we go through, because it obviously forms an opinion, right, for us
Right.
as to what's going on. And I just think on the vehicle maintenance though, we didn't adjust that line item.
No, that was adjusted on the other side of the line as far as selectmen.
Right. So the adjustments we made, I haven't seen them all, we'll see how they come
No,
out.
that had nothing to do with this year.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And the other thing is that when you get to government buildings, we're still having issues with our permit setup and ongoing issues with that. So there may be some orders there.
Okay, well, we may call you. I really want to be respectful of your time.
Yep, not a problem, but I don't have an issue with coming in to discuss our budget as far as, why things are where they're at.
No, I appreciate that.
And I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions while the chief is here?
Ready for a motion?
Yep.
I'd like a motion that we accept the budget for line item 4220 in the amount of $778,326.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-1. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, planning board is not coming here tonight. I spoke to Tony. Tony and I communicated today, and I don't want to get into it, but he has a lot on his plate right now, and I did not want him to attend tonight. I didn't feel it was necessary, given he's really dealing with some stuff. So, but we did have a conversation, and so on this budget, I think there are a lot of things going on, and I'm going to try and piece them out into their own respective pieces. One is, I understand that him and Susan right now, and I think Bob, you're on the planning committee, are doing an amazing amount of work to update all our zoning board and all our, whatever they are, zoning regulations, and bring them up to current code, current New Hampshire requirements, as well as put them in a much more readable, newer, updated format. And there's going to be a bunch of warrant articles that come out, I guess, this year and next year to go to the town. So and it's also his first year of really doing this. So he very much asked that two things. One, that we leave his budget intact, And he said, listen, if we come in next year and we haven't spent the money, then it's a different discussion, but he really thinks that between using Susan, needing to use Susan more, the consultant more, and he is gonna go and attend some seminars that are all gonna cost money, that those budget line items are how he wants them. So, I got pretty comfortable having heard that from him. I guess, we're gonna have to reopen up, potentially the legal fee piece of this. But I sat and listened to the November 3rd meeting that went on that he attended, and I have to say I was really disappointed. To a place where, you know, it became almost like they were trying, like it was an attempt to throw the budget committee under the bus in a really huge way. And so I think I'd encourage you all to go watch both the first few minutes of the November 3rd budget committee meeting, and I'd also encourage you to watch an hour and 15 minutes in when it relates to Parks and Rec. But in particular, there were a couple of things raised. Tony had heard that we had reduced his budget by $2,500 for legal fees so that we could increase our budget for $2,500.
For the sole purpose of that.
For the sole purpose of doing that.
That was not.
And the selectmen did not choose to correct that. I actually don't even understand how that happened. How it is that you did not correct it, because that is not at all factually correct, and you all know it. Right?
I'm not gonna speak without reviewing it.
Okay, we should go take a look at it, because it, you know, and then, so the budget committee are thrown under the bus. I sort of thought we had a working relationship. We tried just to do the best for the town, you know, and so that did not sit, well at all on that piece. And, you know, in any way, and then the reality is that the budget committee does have a budget that they have to attack, you know, take care of and manage to and try and get to the right answers. And that's, we're all doing it in good faith. There's nothing around here that's going on in not great faith. And I think the other thing that wasn't made clear to him, that there's a $75,000 contingency. That if he does get in a hole in this legal fees, that's what the contingency is there for. We've talked about it 100 times. It's known. It should have been made abundantly clear to him. So. I would like, I'd like for two things, I guess. I would like for us to take a look at the planning board budget. And, you know, based on the discussion with Tony and the dollars involved here and the amount of work they have ahead of them, and with what is a very articulate explanation, he would like to ask it to be approved, the budget as they are presented.
Be without the change.
Well, the legal fees, we have to reopen to approve that already, it's in the separate line item.
So as a practical matter, if the planning board found itself in a situation where they were going to exceed their line item amount, the budget committee would have the authority to shift some of these amounts around.
The select,
Selecting the, yeah,
Within their budget.
within their budget.
And or if they happen to continue.
So our estimate is really just one of, we don't know what's going to happen, but we need to have a reasonable amount in there. But on the other hand, there is a safety mechanism in place.
The two
I just
safety,
think that has to be said because that is an important.
Yeah. the two safety mechanisms in place. One, you can move budget around to
Exactly.
cover, and two, there's a
Exactly,
contingency. or
exactly.
a
So
worst
for the
case.
record, I think that needs to be put out there.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I can certainly understand Tony's first blush reaction, but on the other hand, I mean, you have to look at this in the total sense. Yeah, okay.
I don't have that sitting in front of me. What is the adjustment on the original planning board budget that he wants to make?
No, he doesn't wanna make any adjustments, we haven't approved it yet, we were talking
Oh,
about.
okay, just
we
the
were-
legal side. that
Yeah,
we have to
we-
reopen.
Yeah, we had gone through and looked at, he hadn't,
Yep.
like, for instance, nurse's assistant hadn't spent
Any
close
of the
to,
money.
well, some of it, but not close to that amount, and there's a bunch of smaller line items, yeah, that weren't complete.
Okay, so we just have to reopen the legal.
Yeah, so, if there's a, I would, is there any other discussion on 4191 planning board?
No, I think we had discussed quite a bit.
Yeah, can I get a motion?
I'd make the motion to accept 4191 planning board in the amount of $30,105.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Let's go to docks and bridges. So this year, shows a pretty significant increase in docks and bridges, 4313, consulting engineering, going up to 30,000. And that relates to work, on the Culver and Sodom, Lake Road, 19 Mile Bay, and Beach and Program, and Malvern Wharf, right? Those are sort of the main carrying. Going on, as we talk in CIP, there's gonna be additional work that needs to happen around our two Melbourne Village and Mirror Lake fire departments. And so, this is gonna be an ongoing issue. I view these consulting and engineering costs to be more in line with the capital expenditure, that in effect, they would become part of the cost of whatever development we ended up doing. And CIP has recommended that they create a expendable trust fund. I think they put 40,000 into 2026 warrant article, with more to come in 2027. That would be a selectman expendable trust fund. I think as these should not be ongoing expenditures, but more like one-off stuff as we do them, I'm sort of questioning as to why they're in our operating budget and why the increase in the operating budget, and doesn't just go out to the town to approve as appropriate as a warrant article.
It's not, I mean, it's traditionally not how we've done things over the years.
Right.
Bob, did you wanna add to that?
Well, we had a discussion about that, the three of us.
Right.
And, my memory's failing me for details, but, we agreed, the three of us agreed that, we'd like to leave it where it is. We don't think that the prudent place to put it is in the warrant article. In order to get engineering done, to create a warrant article, we need to be able to do this out of the operating budget, not a warrant article. The engineering will give us construction pricing, which we can then move forward to a warrant article, but we need to be able to do the engineering.
But an expendable capital reserve fund will do just that. You can take the funds, you guys can go out and say, hey, we've got this, one of the projects, you can just do that and you can ask for money. It's just like buying a police car, it's just like doing the police department's anything. It's an expendable fund that you can just use at any particular time for engineering, consulting and engineering. There's no difference.
And it's not an operating.
And it's not an operating expense. And if you put that 30,000 on top of what we got, and then we got, how many more budgets do we have to approve?
Much more. But it's-
And the big ticket ones?
Yeah.
Solid waste, highway, we're looking at 7.5 to 8 on operating budget only. And then you guys are gonna come forth with what you think is gonna be warrant articles. I think that this does not belong in the operating budget. It's not an operating budget thing. It should be there, and it should be there for you to use, but an expendable trust fund is just like that. You can go put it out to bid, and you can have the voucher put in, and you can ask for the money at any particular time.
It's a capital expense, not operating.
What does that do for timing? Bob? In other words, let's just for the sake of argument say that we took their proposal and let them, move forward with an expendable trust. From a timing perspective, what difference would it make?
I can tell you that.
Please.
The overall budget, which this is gonna be a part of, is gonna be voted on at town meeting. That warrant article that might be proposed for the expendable trust fund will be voted on at town meeting. It does absolutely nothing different. Unless the voters decide they don't want
They
it.
don't want it.
And how many times in the past 45 years have we ever, and that argument comes up?
But if they don't want it, then they've said something.
Right.
And it shouldn't be in the operating budget. If they don't want it, then we shouldn't be burying it in the operating budget. If you're worried about that, which I don't think
Maybe it
you are, then it shouldn't be in the operating
Shouldn't be in
budget.
the operating budget.
I think that, these type of projects that revolve around infrastructure, should be, exposed to public comment as much as possible. Because the residents, as individuals, use the facility. Bob and I had a discussion not too long ago about the replacement of the boat ramp on Lake Road as a cost-saving measure. The town decided to take an approach that has left us with a ramp that's a lot less usable than the one that it replaced. And I think that that's the type of thing that might have been brought up by a member of the public if it had been a warrant. At the time, I think the budget was only $25,000 for that, but nevertheless, it should have been a capital project. So for that reason, I think that it's a good idea, it's good policy to make these into warrants.
I'll say that I'm not opposed to the idea, but I can't speak for the entire select board, and Chip's not here.
But the issue we're gonna have is that we're gonna vote not to put it in the budget, in which case you're gonna be forced to put it in the expendable trust.
Along with that, the write-up that we received tonight does talk about Lake Road, and it says drainage and boat launch engineering. So are we changing the boat launch again down there, or is that
The boat launch needs
work?
Needs work.
Is it repair or redo?
I think repair, as far as I understand.
Well, repair, redo,
It needs to be
semantics
reviewed.
at that point.
It's a capital expense.
Publishing.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I-
the public should have the input, exactly.
So I'm gonna leave it up to you now. I'm happy to push this off to next meeting, so you guys have a chance to think about it. But if I think we were to take a vote today, this would come out that this would be put down to $1,000.
I brought it up at the, I don't know whether it was at the workshop or a selectmen's meeting, but I brought it up and for discussion. And, was that one of the motions that I made?
Could have been, I don't remember
Could
the
have been,
second one.
I'm not sure. But anyways, we did discuss it. And, at the end of the meeting, the three of us as a whole decided not to change.
So you don't wanna reconsider that?
We had the discussion. We
Okay.
decided not to change.
All right. And to be clear, is there a cogent reason that you want to put on the table to leave it that way?
Just for the things I discussed, if you want details, I suggest you go back to the minutes
Okay.
or the video, whichever it's in. Because I don't remember whether it was at a selectmen's meeting or a workshop.
We're gonna table this.
No,
No.
they've already discussed
Oh,
it.
it's over, okay.
Yep.
We need a motion.
Well, we don't need, I'm thinking we're gonna decide what number we're gonna stick in here, right?
For example, 0.
Yeah, or $1,000 to add some money to.
Nope, I think it should be a capital expense. I agree.
So do you need a motion?
Make a motion, yeah.
I'd make a motion to reduce, 4313 to $1.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5 to 1. So we got, library, so I think we'll come to library so we can not keep you guys waiting the whole time.
This is a 5-year thing, I think we should get it. And that's a 5-year analysis budget comparison.
Okay, great.
And the second page is where we think we're gonna end up this year as far as expenses and.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Do you folks have the proposed budget summary?
Proposed budget summary?
Yes.
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
Hey, if you want to scoot over and I'll talk another chair for them?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No worries.
Covered.
Slide on in.
He's slid the other way.
Which way
He's slid the
do you want to say? This or her?
So our projections for 2026, we, overall, we are, not seeing any operating cost increase in the library. We're going to keep that in line. The only increase that we're asking for in our budget is staff salaries, adjusted per the selectmen's request of cost of living adjustments and free pay step grades.
So next year, when you submit your whole package,
Yeah.
because the things I asked was the actual expenditures year to date, actual revenues collected, and account balances. So if you can just include.
You should have that.
You should have that.
Yeah,
Our treasurer
Marcia's
sends that out.
Does that,
I think I saw that.
You should get that. It's a spreadsheet that looks like our treasurer sends out.
Yeah.
Should have,
Oh, it comes to the selectmen, it doesn't come to budget. It's in the selectmen.
Yeah, I can make copies, but
yeah.
It's okay, we're not voting on it tonight, so
Oh, okay.
that's fine, Dennis, you're
I
great.
didn't realize that.
It's fine, Dennis, you're
no,
fine, you're fine.
we're all good, I just
We're
was
all good.
Okay.
trying to make sure we got
Yeah.
be as efficient as possible in the process.
Yeah.
That's in my green folder.
So the only other thing that's not on here, there was, and I think it's only 2 funds you have, right? You have the Hoppin Fund
Yeah.
and you have the Building Fund or something, right? Those are the only 2 funds you have. Do you know what those balances are currently and what they were? I wish I had. And if you
We
don't,
have as of October.
okay,
She
And
just
these
sent
are-
out the end of the.
These are non-town funds. These are based on donations that we've
Yeah.
received. So they have specific earmarks. They're not things that we can use for our operating budget or things like that. So these are in the Hoppin, we have 40,252 and 27 cents. That's as of the end of October balance.
yeah,
In our building funds, our total, we have 32,916 and 61 cents.
Hopping fund is earmarked for precisely what?
Those are, it's per the trustees' discretions. These are funds that we have kind of inherited. They started out as earmarked toward, I can't remember what they were earmarked towards initially.
I think it was collection.
It's collection development.
So
Collection development.
it's collection development programming. If we needed special equipment or furniture, we can get stuff from that. Earlier this year, we bought additional shelving and furniture that we took out of the building fund. So
You do a draw from those funds?
Yeah.
So you, so when I say draw, do they have an annual
not anymore.
spend?
The Hoppin Fund reverted to just this past year. It actually got transferred. Didn't it go from Fidelity?
It went from the Fidelity to the.
It used to have an annual draw, but after 20 or 25 years, it just became all.
Yeah.
So we could only get like $1,000 a year, whatever the draw was.
Oh, historically?
Which is why it grew to.
Historically, yeah, but now the fund, until like, I think 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's within the last couple of years.
And now the fund is what? What's the spend policy on the fund?
It's up to the trustees to manage with the library director's discretion, but, yeah.
So you request the mayor to approve or don't approve it?
Yeah. So that is if we need new computers, if we need new furniture, rather than putting it in our town request. Or if we want to get new services for the library, we either go to Friends or go to our reserve fund, so it's not in our operating budget.
So typically, what's the size of the draw that would happen on average?
It varies, it depends on.
It depends on what the needs are. I think
Yeah.
we pulled 7,000 something in the last winter.
75, yeah.
Generally less than 10?
It's generally, less than 10.
Yeah, we wanna maintain a
Sure, yeah, I understand.
balance, just especially, nowadays, costs are going up for so many things, like.
So pretty much, for collection, development, and programming, about 50% of that comes from town funding, and then the other 50% we pay for through Friends of the Library, through donations, gifts, grants, so, I mean, that's a pretty good split. A lot of libraries are not that fortunate to have that type of community support, so.
So all the revenue you received this year to date is at 20,000?
Yeah.
Right? And is that current through when, do you know?
That's current through the end of November, and it shouldn't go up. The only money that will go into that for December is like book sale money, which is probably like $30.
Yeah, it's not.
That number is pretty,
So I love the library. I live in Tuckahoe. I love the library. Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. And So when you say that, the town doesn't have an obligation to fund the expenses, right? It's a question. They don't have. So when you have money that's available to fund expenses too, what's the choice between taking money out of your Hoppin fund or your building fund, or charging the Tuckahoe Borough taxpayers? What makes those decisions?
well, legally per RSA 202, the town is responsible for financially paying for the library. The town voted to have a library, so you have to fund it
By whose budget?
by the town's budget.
I
I don't know what you mean.
I don't think the taxpayers of Tuckahoe Borough signed off for the rest of their lives to.
Yeah.
It's.
If you vote to have a library, per warrant article back like 100 years ago, you're financially obligated to pay for the library as long as it's in existence. And the only way it could not be in existence is if you have another warrant article to dissolve the library.
So let me understand. So if you guys decided next year that you wanted to put in $100,000 gold jacuzzi in the middle of the library, the town has to fund that.
No.
What people
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand.
So in essence, if you look at our town funding line, like we are asking for the town for things like our heat, our electricity, our staff salaries, our technology to keep our website running, all the basic things that we need to keep the library operating, as well as about half of our collection development and programming, just to keep the library operational. And within that, the trustees vote on our budget. We are also beholden to the taxpayers, and we have reasonable within that, like, you know, the library is an asset to the town. We wanna make sure that it is functional, that it's utilized to the best of that it's providing all the services that the town needs, based on, you know, what we hear from our constituents and, what we can offer. And, you know, we don't have $100,000, we're not gonna put in.
I was just asking you
But yeah, like
to
in
understand
terms
what
of-
the control is.
Yeah,
But basic, you know, utilities, maintenance costs, you know, basic supplies to run, you know, the everyday stuff, you know, monthly stuff. That stuff that definitely goes into the town requests, basic functional stuff. Collection, development, and programming, which is obviously a huge part of what libraries are. We are fortunate that the town only provides about 50% of that, and we get the other 50% through gifts and grants and donations and fundraising, which we're very lucky because some towns pay for most of it.
But yeah, it allows.
So, but if we need extra stuff, if we want shelving or furniture or extra things, we try very hard not to put that in the budget. We try to leave it at, okay, 50% on collection and programming.
And, you know, we decide, is it something that we can afford this year, or, you know, do we wanna have a long-term plan for it? Like, yeah,
Just a quick question.
sure.
Your staff, are they technically employees of the town?
Technically, they are employees of the library. Yes,
So,
of the trustees. So like, we answer to the trustees, so
It's
sometimes people
It's
refer
a
to the.
weird arrangement.
It's really weird, yeah, like the,
Library law street.
no,
It is.
it's no,
But it's
but
the law.
that's fine. No, and
Yeah.
that's exactly the answer I thought you were going to give me.
right,
But you just did the salaries, which I'm not questioning the number or anything. What I'm trying to get to is, so COLA, that's no. But then you said the step increases as the selectmen recommended, but you're not town employees. You're employees of the library. So
Yeah,
you
but
guys,
cost of living for the selectmen.
yes.
The step increases are trustee approved.
Yeah.
Are you
That's
using the same step
We do use the
increases
same,
as
we do
the
use the
town?
same, yes.
That's
Because we
what-
were included in that study when they set up that pay scale, the pay step group. We were part of that, yeah. So we use the same. We're separate, but I mean, we're still, it's the town. So we try to match the town wherever possible because.
No, that's
Like
fine.
when we look at our policies and things like that, we try to look at the town policies as well and see.
That's
Yeah.
fine. That's,
We
you
try, yeah,
you
we try.
answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So you mean technically, yeah, we answered, I work for the trustees.
Right after the Thornton study was published and massive pay increases were implemented for some people, the library trustees met with the board of selectmen and agreed to use the town's pay scales and step chart. And it's been that way since then.
Thank you. That's all I need. Perfect.
Anybody else have any questions?
No.
I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the information. It's
Yeah.
very helpful. It was awesome.
Great
Thank you,
job.
of course.
Yes, great job.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Ah, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
All of your work.
Sure, you can do whatever you want.
That was the only thing.
Okay. Yeah. Go back to where we were. All right, so, legal reconsideration, right? So we are, the planning board, the fire and rescue, legal reconsideration. 4153. Okay. So, I would like to get a motion from the floor to reconsider legal.
I'll make a motion to reopen 4153 legal for the sole reconsideration of the legal planning line.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? What's that?
I do not oppose.
So I would like to propose that, given my discussion and given the work that's facing our planning board for the next 12 months, and their requirements, that we move their legal planning budget, which is separate from legal litigation, because it's really going to be work related to getting the zoning ordinances and regulations in place appropriate, and using a lawyer to vet some of the stuff, because the consultant always has everything checked by the lawyer, that we move it back up to their requested amount of 5,000. And that would change the total budget up to 34,200. Yeah. Any discussion on this?
Do we want to consider how much we put in the budget for the budget committee? Maybe just bring that down a little bit,
No, we just opened it up for
just this one line
item
item.
for now. So if you want to do that, then you can, when we have a discussion after.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to amend the legal planning line from 2,500 to 5,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
4, 1, 1. Okay. Did the zoning board already, right? So we got Parks and Rec.
We have conservation here.
All right.
Point of order,
Sure.
do you need to re-vote on the bottom line?
Yeah, we can. Why don't we do that? That's a good idea. Thank you, Bob. Can I get a motion to approve the total for, the now amended total 4153 legal budget for 2026 of 34,200?
I'll make the motion to approve the legal 44,200.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Once again, I abstain.
So 411. Maybe the planning board, sorry, when did you do it? Yep. Can I get a, we're gonna move on to 7.4, which is 4191-2 zoning board of adjustment budget.
I'll make a motion to approve 4191-2 ZBA in the amount of 4,700.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions 5-0. 6-0, sorry, bad math. All right, so let's move now. Good library. Is Conservation Commission?
Here,
Hi, I'm Rob, we haven't met before.
Rob, and you can start.
Hey Vicky, nice to meet you. I know we've emailed and I couldn't make that previous meeting. So
Oh, no, it's okay.
thank you for coming in. All right, Conservation Commission. Thank you for coming in. Is there any, would you like to walk through your budget, or how would you like to present it to us?
Well, quite honestly, I am new to chairing the Conservation Commission. I've been on the commission for over a 2 years. And I all of a sudden became chair. So, quite honestly, I'm not familiar with all the expenditures that happened. My best guesstimate was to just mirror what we've done in 2025. The only exception I will speak to is that the Great Meadow Trail the parking lot needs some attention. When it was initially put in, we didn't own the lot on one side, and so when you come out of that parking lot, there's a hill that's a little bit of a danger, so we can now move that entrance so that it's safer. We all notice that when you come out, you're not paying attention, somebody can be in close, come back out, and then like sort of surprise you.
Do you know how big a project that is?
Well, we did get a budget for, just over 6,000, so, I talked to the select board and we agreed that I could get a proposal from, E.B. Mooney and Sons to, have $3,000 due upon the beginning of the project, and then upon completion, the last, $3,126 would be due.
Okay. And that would happen when, in 2026?
I'm trying to get him to, finalize it like soon, like this week. So we encumber the 3,000 in 2025 and then owe the rest of it in 2026.
I haven't seen that area. Is it basically regrading gravel, or is there actually a hard surface there?
It's gravel. It's gravel.
And so it's gonna be gravel just re-leveled?
Just moving the entrance.
Okay.
So that it comes out more on the hill where you can see oncoming traffic better.
Is there culvert work involved also then?
I don't think so.
No.
You got a quote from Jeff?
Yes. And I sent him an email out telling him that we're interested in moving forward, and I went back to him to call him and say hello.
Okay. So right now you've spent, like, up, just so you know, on your budget, and I know this is really unfair territory, and I appreciate you coming tonight, because you haven't had time to really. So far you spent like 10,000 of your budget, so I'm assuming the 3,000 from this year is gonna go into this budget somewhere.
Yep.
And, you know, and then, so that will bring it up to probably 13 or 14,000.
Yeah, and then Caitlin will still have some time she'll turn in.
Okay, so she's not fully moved over the time sheets, so she'll get to a $5,000 spend.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the numbers.
Okay. So the other thing I'm glad you're here, the 19-mile Bay Brook study, the environment, can you tell us what's going on with that and what's?
Well, I know we had a rough summer because as far as collecting data, it was very dry, as you guys all know.
Mm-hmm.
So the data collection just didn't happen. They did get a storm late in the year, and as far as I know, Larry Gill has been kind of the main correspondent with FBE, and they did say they were able to collect some sample at the last big storm we got. But I know, as far as I know, it's still being analyzed. So we haven't heard anything from that. It's still ongoing. They did collect all their sample sites, their tools and equipment before this really hard freeze that came.
Right.
But I actually personally have been up there to see what they're doing, where they're testing. So it's been kind of interesting.
And is the plan to continue to test? And will that be a warrant? Is that the program?
Yes.
Is to be a warrant on it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There was a little miscommunication with, between Audrey and I, sorry, as far as getting, forgive me, I'm trying to remember.
CFP.
Thank you, CFP, versus a warrant article. And so when I asked at the meeting, they said we didn't need a CFP, but I knew we needed something, and
Okay.
so we're definitely wanting to move forward with that.
Yeah.
And as a resident of 19 Bay, I'm kind of interested.
Yeah.
I live right on 19 Bay.
Yeah. So do we, so.
It's not required, but we think it's very, very important to keep monitoring that year after year to establish trends.
Yeah.
Because someday it's gonna come to a head. We're gonna need that data.
Yeah. No, I think it's very wise to continue to do this.
And we added a sampling point, this year.
Are we pretty well past getting Wolf Bar to co-share?
That's gone, that's why
That's
we're doing it
gone.
on our own now.
The ship's on the other side.
Well,
of the
I mean,
Yeah.
we had that discussion, I just wasn't sure if we had some ongoing attempts to try to repair that, but no.
Does anybody have anybody have any questions? So we don't vote on the budgets tonight, but all the questions are gonna get asked and answered now, and so I think we don't have any more questions, we're all set. And thank you so much for coming and giving
Oh,
up
no
time
problem.
on your Tuesday night
Thank you for your
to
consideration.
be with us, so we really appreciate it. Appreciate you coming down. So why don't we move on to solid waste? Okay. So solid waste, let's do solid waste. Come on up. Thank you for coming. Okay. So Audrey sent us some additional information. I'm hoping you all got it. And Chris, I was interested to take a look and see the actual volume numbers that have come through the facility. And if I look at 2022, it's hard to tell 2025 because we don't have December's numbers in there. But it's been kind of flat to down. Right?
Yeah, it's about, it's been pretty consistent for some years. Now, in the summertime, when we see the bill fluctuation,
So I,
from about May till September.
yeah, it definitely is seasonal, but I mean, even within the seasonality, you may have a couple of months that are higher or lower, but overall, the amount of volume that you're pushing through the plant is sort of flat. Yeah, I'm trying to understand, because, and then if I look at, if I look at the expenses, if I look at where the expenses are up, like almost 50%, 45% over the same period. And I understand we've had inflation, so, that probably answers over the 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years, that's probably, somewhere like around 15% of that. But I'm trying to figure out, what's going on with the rest of it.
this year's budget, we were pretty flat. The only real expense increase was, the salaries for guys. There were step increases and the costs associated with that. But overall, I'm sorry, waste management, that was increase. We,
Overall, what is that in waste management, I'm sorry?
yeah, waste management, we're in that contract with waste management.
Yeah.
And they went up, depending on fuel surcharges, it's between 3 and 5% across the board. So,
Well,
that, increase that we're facing.
all the disposal, everything on disposal is increased by 5%. Right, so so I wanted to see the contract. And I just got it, so I haven't really spent much time being able to look at it, but I think the contract has a what kind of increase in it?
Well,
Escalation, escalation cost between 3 and 5%.
Well, 3%, no, it's a 3% escalation, right? But I mean, fuel prices have not gone up, so there can't be an escalation in fuel.
well, that's whether somebody, would say that we don't dictate waste management or they try us.
Well, that's
Except when we try, when we sign a contract, so they, unfortunately, it seems like that is only when they turn to us. Let's say the fuel goes up to 450 a gallon. It seems like if it goes down to 350 a gallon,
Yeah.
we don't get a refund. It's just, we continue to pay a bill.
No, but it has to be, I mean, I'm assuming we didn't sign a contract that says that there's no base fuel price. There has to be a base fuel price in here. That they calculate the adjustment off. There's no way it goes up and then the fuel goes down. You still pay up. Still pay up, I mean, that would be.
Established base line fuel price, $4.25 per gallon.
Right, so we're now, I mean, I know what fuel that is, but we should be getting a fuel credit.
And if we're not, then somebody's not listening to the village rate and we're doing overcharge.
That may be something that we will have to look into as a part of that. I don't ever remember receiving fuel refund.
Mm-hmm. Well, who pays the bill?
Who pays the waste management bills?
The town, but the town hall, there's the bill.
So how do they know, who's tracking the volume?
We do,
You do? So does that get reconciled?
yes.
Who reconciles that?
I get the bill.
You get the bill.
And look and make sure that what was in charge for, actually, what we took out.
And where's the CMG adjustment?
Contract is just signed after the summer.
No, let's look at another question. So the last one was put out to bid in 2009.
Why is this not gone out to bid? 2009 was the last time this went out to bid. Was there nobody else that looked into this?
We put it out to bid?
I don't believe that went out to bid last time. I can't speak to the 5-year, if the contract was in 5 years cycles, I can't
5-year contract, right?
Correct.
So, I don't even think we can enter into a 5-year contract without having to, is there a term in here that says that it is subject to appropriation? In the event the town fails to appropriate funds for any year of this agreement, it's going to become null and void.
Right.
Okay. So were there any, do we get pricing from anybody else? Because this went into effect January 1, right? Yeah. Is there pricing from anybody else on this?
Not that I'm aware.
So can we try and take a look and see for the last few months, whatever,
Waste management bills.
the waste management bills?
You want dollar amounts and volume, or you want every page?
We wanna see the bills.
So I would like to see a couple of bills, and then I wanna see how they're doing their fuel adjustment, and I wanna take a look and
Okay.
understand how that's all working. So depending on what the fuel forecast looks like, would depend on, because I mean, I know you put 5% in here, but obviously if fuel goes down 10%, then the cost goes, an adjustment, if it goes, yeah, if it goes up 10%, then there's an adjustment. It doesn't, it's actually kind of a minor, it looks like it's a minor adjustment, that's the way it's shown here, but I don't know, so. Alright, so, and I don't know, just on, who is the second in command? The second assistant to second in command, is that position higher? So who is that person?
It's on one of these sheets, right down.
Yeah,
So many of them, I think. Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Should be on this sheet?
Yeah.
Your packet?
No,
it.
there's, if you look below that, that's one name, and now we have second in command. We don't have a name, we just have second in command.
I believe what the selectmen did is, they're evaluating the person and they don't really want to state it because it's not a done deal. So I think they're trying to keep the name.
But the money's been spent, or going to be spent,
If I may.
It's budgeted.
go ahead.
Prior to his retirement, okay,
Mhm,
the second in command
mhm,
is the man just above.
mhm,
He's now working 2 days a week, part-time.
mhm.
He's still second in command until a new person is trained to take that position fully. Is that a correct explanation?
But he is helping with the operation. Well, we're also training the first name on that list. I expect that first name on that list will be finalized shortly around the first of the year, and then that current second in command, his responsibility is going to be
Is there an open question on the floor? The recycling assistant, the per diem,
correct, yeah.
yeah, we've only spent, less than about a third of that budget. in 2025.
Yeah, we've only got, we've only got another weeks and the per diem was scheduled for, a couple days during the Christmas and school, so that, everybody's like, well, I don't come back.
I think we're gonna wanna understand a little more, and maybe it's a different conversation about what's going on the compensation lines here. So, they just don't,
It's not adding up.
it's not adding up, and there's, you know, we're way under, we're way over budgeted this in 2025. So, we're gonna have a separate conversation around that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd asked a question on this, was around the contract. I'd like to understand, why it was that we didn't go out to bid, why we haven't been out to bid since 2009, and, you know, what that process was. Because this is not an insignificant contract. This contract is probably related to almost,
The last time it was put out to bid, how many bidders were in the population that we could go to? Anyone have any idea?
2009, so it's 42.
A long time ago.
16 years.
But there's a lot out there now.
Is there?
Yeah, and the fact of the matter that this contract just went under in December
Yeah.
2024, there's no reason why that shouldn't.
I just wanted to make sure that we had a large enough market
There's
to
a pretty
take
good,
advantage of.
there's a pretty good pocket, Gary. Good question. Very good question.
The biggest carriers out there right now are Casella, Richmond, United is mostly in the southern part of the state. So my guess is they come up this way, they'll get fuel surcharge, but certainly we didn't have conversation.
Today, there was a Panera dumpster in,
Yeah,
was that for the solar people?
yeah.
Thank you.
So from a budget perspective, what does the contract have to do with that?
It's $200,000 worth of annual expenses.
Right,
That's in
but
the operating budget.
we're already in that
No,
contract.
you signed a new contract,
You just signed a new one.
a new 5-year commitment.
Correct. So what I'm asking is for this year's budget, how does that play into it?
What do you mean for this year's budget?
For this year's budget,
Well,
we're already under contract, we can't change that contract, so.
Because I want to understand how the contract happened, because you should have gone out to bid, you should have been getting, we can change it, because we have a termination provision,
Termination.
non-appropriation provision.
If we want to
So-
appropriate it, then that contract's on the void, and that's something that is in our interest.
Well, yes and no. I mean, more likely that would be the case if the bid came in quite a bit less, but then, you know, associated with termination is termination costs, so
No, it just said it's all in void.
it's
That's all it
just
said.
null and void.
Null and
period.
void, yep.
I haven't read the contract, so it might be something else in there too.
Okay. I think that was it. All right, Chris, I think that's good. Does anybody else have any other questions? I appreciate you coming in tonight, especially so late. Jim just walked in.
And that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, perfect timing, actually.
Get in and get out, it's not even 7:30.
Jump on the hot seat, man.
Need a little extra over here.
Oh, thank you. Yep.
Appreciate it.
There we go. How do you want to do this? You want to go through your little presentation first, or would you like to just stand away at questions?
How would you like to handle it?
I'm here on my left, want to bang away at questions.
Okay.
Through the questions, I haven't looked at this material yet, so. Okay. Well, so can we start off on the road agent, right? So you bill for your time, right? For your hours, is it an hourly billing?
Yes.
Okay. And I hate to even ask this question, but you haven't got close to your budget item in 5 years. So
On my line item?
on your line item.
I kind of, the last one to get to, I don't charge for all the time that I actually do. I'd like to see the money go towards getting stuff done.
Okay. That's a great answer. It just, I want to make sure that we're budgeting the right amount in here for what we need and bring in the right buckets. So. Then just on summer maintenance. So we had a sheet done last year that didn't get done. So I feel like it's a little more difficult for us to really figure our way through here. But on summer maintenance, you've asked for 100,000 compared to last year's budget, which was 100,000. But there are two things going on here. One is there is 25,000 that's now down below in road grading, right? That was in summer maintenance before.
Correct.
Right.
Well, buses, we do that in spring, fall, but, it's hard to fight those numbers and make it all work. So a lot of times they get pushed into summer. But I did write something up in my notes here on road grading. Actually, I have a whole page, not a big page, but I do have a page on it. I'd like to explain that a little bit.
Yep.
Midway in the pile, it looks like. I separated out road grading this year to track it better for the future. And all the roads this year will also need gravel, before we can grade them again. We was very sparingly, used gravel very sparingly this year.
Yeah.
To stay in budget. And now we're going to pay for it, we're going to do more. And I also want to try something new this year. I recently found out there's a new local pit that has paving millings.
Yep.
I'm going to spread those on a steep section of Willand Road, because that's our worst road that we have to maintain. Chatter bumps of trucks just trying to climb it. It's constant, and we're fighting it constantly. And I've been told if we put this down like 3-4 inches thick, we grade it, we get a vibratory roll it, it'll be like, be like pavement. And we want to try that, because I think that's going to save money in the long run.
Yeah.
If it works.
Drive up the price for the rest of us that use that stuff on our dirt roads in town.
Well, if it works on dirt roads, then eventually you do them all like that. We can hopefully do them once.
It's amazing. So we were on Sawyer Point, and we've done that.
Oh, you did?
Year after year on Sawyer Point, and your road almost becomes like blacktop.
No kidding. So I'm excited to try that.
Yeah.
that on our driveway, and we just use the hot top, and it's just like pavement. It does work. If they're high enough grade nines, it hardens right up. It's gonna be just like pavement.
And plowing doesn't change it? I'm excited to try this, because I've never used it, we've never had a local pit that had it either.
They sometimes don't have it, sometimes really hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm sure in the spring, it's hard to
in
get.
town.
Yeah, and it went from, don't quote me on these numbers, but it went from like $12 a yard to like 36, 38 bucks a yard.
Money well spent though.
Yeah, but it's definitely good.
Yeah, so I'm excited to try it.
Yeah.
And, I'm hoping the long run saves money.
Yeah.
Because I think right now we're grading, 4 or 5 times a year. It's too much.
Yeah, we do it once.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of want to put that in a separate line item.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense to do it that way.
Okay. And then on the, oh my goodness, on the sanding, cleaning of the sand, sweeping the roads, right? Where was that before in your budget? Do you remember?
Well, I normally put it in the spring, but this year it got pushed off into summer. And I tried to spell that out a little bit for you too.
Okay.
On their spring maintenance and summer maintenance.
All right. Are there sheets for each of these here?
Yeah, I actually, on the back, the last 4 sheets are winter, spring, summer, and fall.
Okay.
All you gotta do is go.
What's that?
Don't listen to Guy.
Never mind.
So I try to give a little description for each. You guys want to read through them and have any questions? Hopefully.
So where are we? We're on spring. Okay. Jim, if we were to take, say we said we had to get this budget down to 775. I'm not saying you're gonna do that, I'm just, yeah.
Before you say that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask one thing.
Yeah.
So, every year we do a warrant article for neighborhood paving, right? Or, paving, yeah, we do 2 separate warrant, well, it's 2 pieces. We do the roads, so that, and everybody knows what roads are gonna be done usually at town meeting, right? Usually announced. So, hear me out. Tree removal. You put in for 50 grand, and I know why. There's some major trees in cemeteries and other places in town that need to be done. It's kind of an ongoing thing, right?
Plus that disease that we had going on.
Right.
Ash borer.
Why is it in an operating budget at this juncture for this amount of money? Why can't it be a warrant article? Because there is a plan in place to take down certain trees in certain areas of the town. Why can't this be not part of your operating budget? Why can't this, again, be a warrant article? Because now it's up to 50. You know the price is not gonna go down. It costs a lot of money to take down a tree that could be in a very, I have a cemetery. There's a tree. I've had 3 tree guys come in. 1 tree, 10 grand.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Expensive.
it's a lot of money because you gotta get the
Crane.
cranes in, you got all the stuff, you can't go over the septic, the whole thing. But what I'm saying, my point being, why is this here and why isn't it in a warrant article? Because it's of the same nature that you're
But it's every
paving,
year, it's just every year maintenance.
paving other roads, you choose certain roads to pave every year too.
Yeah,
Every
but that's a
year.
budget I think that people would wanna vote on. I don't know that tree cutting is a budget that we can even.
A warrant
I don't
article?
think, well, I don't think it's something that we should even second guess and put it out to vote. Has to be done, liability, do we want the lawsuit of that?
Tree removal
So
versus
I
tree
have a
cutting.
different question for you though. So I think it's not a bad, because I read and there was a sense that what's going on here is that every year you're watching your budget, right? And you've been behind or ahead. You spent ahead of what your budget is. Yeah, okay. And then so you're looking and you're saying, okay, well, where can I cut?
Well, it's at the end of the year, yeah, correct.
Right, and the thing that I can't cut is trees. Right? I'm not gonna cut trees because then I'm gonna save money, and you sort of kind of done that, right? Or was that not correct?
Somewhat, but we still have a company coming in with, we're at 30,000, a little over 30,000 now.
Yeah.
And we still have a tree company coming in.
Is there a backlog of trees? To Chris's point, is there a backlog of trees that need to come down?
Many years ahead of us, yeah.
So why wouldn't it make sense then?
Expendable, it's a warrant article, you just refund it every year.
Yeah, or even just say, hey, this year we're gonna take care of this problem once and for always. It's a liability for the town. It's an issue.
Boy, I don't know what that number would be.
Well, I'm not
And
saying
it
once
would
and
be
for
more
always.
for
I don't
next year.
mean once and for always. I don't mean,
Yeah.
Until end of creation here, but we're gonna take care of about 80% of how big a problem is it? If we were to say I'm gonna take care of 80% of the problem,
I'm guessing that we probably have close to 100 trees on almost every road that need to come down. It's pretty significant.
and what damage are they doing in the meantime? What's the reason? What's the liability and what's the risk of
Well,
it?
when they land on a car,
Yeah,
it's
it's not good.
certainly, especially, they're so brittle right now that those type of trees, ash trees, are brittle. I was warned ahead of time that it was coming. And, it's been known for a while that it was coming.
Yeah, they're dying everywhere,
And
yeah.
they're brittle. So they may look okay, just have a little bit of bark peeling, and they could literally snap in the middle and just come right down. Very brittle.
Are they on the side of the road with the power line?
Yeah, it's back and forth.
Because I mean, we should get
They're on both sides.
NHEC.
Well, they've been through, year after year they come. One of those problems is that some of those trees that are really deadly are actually out of there right away, but if they fell, they would land in the road or take the power lines down. And they can't cut those without permission. It gets sticky, and they have a budget as well. But the big thing, to me, more than one falling on a car, is losing the power as often as we might. And that could handicap a lot of people without generators, etc. And ashes tend to lose big branches really quickly. They tend to just drop off of them. It's very weird. Can't say that I've had one lately, but I have had one come down and hit my car before.
Do you think this is the best way to do it, just to do 50 a year, if it's
I think
constantly
so.
behind?
Yeah. I don't want the town to all of a sudden see well, it's $1 million to get them all in 1 year, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just, the one thing I do worry about is sort of just being realistic with the voters. We have an issue, and I just think always being, 100% honest with the voters. It's the only thing you can do. They can, what can the hell, they can fire you, that's okay, great, I'm not getting my paycheck. But I think being honest with them as to what the issue is and the extent of the issue and dealing with it is probably,
Well, I think
I think to Chris's point is kind of the way to go.
pretty forward about it for years now. I mean,
But yeah, town meeting?
letting people, the town, every year when we get a budget, I think everybody knows the problem.
You see the 10 people sitting here, Jim, it's only 10 people that know. The town meeting, they don't see this, they have it, but they don't see it.
Well, if they
That's
watch
part of the
the
problem.
selectmen meetings, I would think they would see it too.
Everybody's given the opportunity to participate in the process, whether they choose to or not. I don't know how we can
Well,
force
I have a different take on that, right? So I agree with you, everybody is given it, and they choose to not, that's their choice. But I have not really seen us come out and say, hey, we got, we have $1 million problem. We've got all these trees that need to come down, we need to make a plan to take them down. And it's like it's not really an operating expense, 'cause it's not the 1 or 2 trees that would otherwise be a problem. got diseases come through, it's got all the stuff.
But it is an operating expense in the sense that every single year, more trees need to be cut.
Yes, it's ongoing.
If we were all up to date, right?
There'd still be a need.
And then, okay, that need would be 25,000. It wouldn't be 150,000 a year to get caught up to. My question was, where do we have to do to get caught up? So this does include some catch up, and I think as when Chris was going, there's always going to be a need to clean up trees coming down and coming off. It's just,
Right.
Which is which?
Yeah, I mean, there are several, we have a lot of dead pine trees and stuff, and they're not little ones, they're substantial, where they need a crane.
Yeah.
So we mark those and we try to use at least one or two a year. We have a crane come and take a few trees every year, and then bucket trucks try to take the rest of them. But it's an ongoing battle, and it's not just the ash forest. We're trying to be conscientious of the bigger pine trees and things like that that are.
I see this as a recurring operating expense. I mean, it's not an acquisition.
It's been
There's
an
no
operating
useful life
expense
to it,
since I
it's
started
just a
17
vendor's
years ago.
measure. It's part of the program.
Yeah, 17 years of it.
That's my feeling.
Is that how long you've been in relation for? 17 years?
Yeah, I just completed 17 years. Yeah,
Congratulations, that's awesome.
thanks. 17 more and I can retire.
All right. I mean, the issue is the order of magnitude of the increase on this budget. And I know we've got a couple of questions for the selectmen as to why they moved on summer maintenance and winter maintenance.
Well, I'll be honest with you. At the time I did my budget, I was not aware that they'd taken over already. What's the name of that development you guys? Ridgeview.
Yeah.
And then again, I didn't even think about having to plow the police station. And then when they brought that up, I was like, well, I wish I had time to redo this now.
Sure.
I didn't.
There's that,
I had to-
and we projected actuals, this year's actuals out.
Yeah.
And those combined put us at those numbers, and we thought it would be irresponsible to not budget based on actuals and what we knew was coming up.
So I am looking at that, Bob, which is kind of interesting, because we're at 719 now, thousand spent out of a $734,000 budget, and so I don't know what, this is through December 4th, so I don't know what December looks like. I know we had a big fat snowstorm just for fun in the middle of it, so that's gonna cost some money. But even if this is another 40 grand or 50 grand this month, we're at 770 or 760, pretty big increase from that.
Well, I have the sheet here saying, we have almost 1 new mile of that new development of Ridgeview Estates, which plowing and treating several times during the storm, and we have road sweeping in the spring, catch basin cleaning, which they have 4 catch basins. We have culvert cleaning and maintenance, crack sealing the pavement, we take care of the new roads first. So that will need it, maybe not right away, but it could be next year, as early as next year, you get some cracks. Then we have filling the low road edges and tree cutting as needed, they still hang in and we gotta cut them, things like that. There's always ongoing maintenance on the brand new road. I really think that's $25,000 a year to maintain that place. And then we have a police station for plowing and salting. We put straight salt down in all the parking lots now.
Given the 2025 budgeted amount, if you add Ridgewood and then divide by the number of miles of road in the town, you're looking at $18,700 per mile. So think of that, having acquired that extra mile, consider that as part of it.
Right, so 1 mile out of 45 miles of road.
That is 30, just under 40.
One of 40 is 200%, right? No, 1 of 40 is 2.5%, right? Yeah. But it's also not, we don't have, there's a fixed component of this cost as well, if we're not, for instance, gonna be striping those roads or, you know, if other people, the road agent doesn't add more hours. So, I mean, there's a piece of it, I hear you, but I mean, we've gone from 734, which we're gonna exceed this year, obviously, to 828.
Correct.
That's a pretty big jump.
It is, but we're trying to get actuals to be more accurate. And on top of that, you know, we have the police station now, requires plowing, salting, sweeping of the pavement, and crack sealing the pavement as well.
What was the name of that, good street that you said?
I think it's Richfield.
Ridgewood?
There's one because I knew about it.
Ridgefield.
Ridgefield?
I wrote down Ridgeview Estates, so it's Ridgefield.
I know where it is.
It's the ridge.
That one goes the same way.
Next time I drive by, I'll take a picture.
Jim, are these newer roads likely to hold up a little bit better? Are they built to a
They have to be
slightly
built,
higher specification
they
than?
have to be built to sound specs, they can't,
Well,
you can't take them over.
It's supposed to be, and
Supposed to be, yeah.
they're great when we take them over.
Yeah.
You know, but we took over Sedata Farms Road and Black Bear.
Yeah.
Those are showing some issues now with the pavement. They're not.
But I mean, compared to the roads in our neighborhood, I mean, they are holding up.
Oh, compared to.
Well,
yes.
that's a bad comparison. But just some of the older communities, they're holding up really well. I mean, the newer roads.
Yeah, like Bomb Pond.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still perfect.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, we still crack seal it, and we still
Yeah.
have to sweep it.
Plus, there's a lot of different
And we
things
plow it.
going on underneath those roads that may be better than what.
I feel, yeah, that they did a nice job there. It's structurally sound for sure. I watched them do that.
What's driving the gravel costs up? Is it regulations or?
You know, I think it's cost of manpower and cost of equipment farming.
Yeah.
And it's more than double.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we were just talking to someone about improving the parking lot up at the Big Meadows area. I was stunned to see $6,000 to re-level that area, but
Well, they're moving the entrance too.
yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, the materials are getting more expensive every year, and, you know, obviously, trucking and machinery, all that stuff's getting more expensive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay,
Cost of salt's going up again.
anybody have any other more questions? Jim, thank you so much for coming tonight, appreciate it, I know you're a busy guy. What's that?
This is the best package I've ever seen you put up.
Yeah,
I put a lot of work into it. I
No,
hope it was
No,
worth it.
this is a great improvement.
so the only thing I'd ask, the reason why, is that we try to get this on the Thursday night, on the Thursday before we have our meeting, and that's just so we can all look at it. So I am gonna spend some time with looking, and I really appreciate you putting it together, and Guy, thank you for pointing that out to make sure we don't miss.
Appreciate that.
It's excellent. Thank you.
Running and bleeding.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be here for weeks.
Go to bed,
I brought my blanket with me.
tomorrow's strong.
The insurance committee. Let's finish up budget items for consideration, there's insurance in here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. All the information I think was needed was within the package. So, does anybody have any questions, thoughts, discussions? Call for a motion. Oh, no, we're not gonna read, sorry, yeah.
I like your confidence.
Almost broke my own rule. All right, so that one's done, we're done with that. Okay, moving back up to budget items for approval. We got Parks and Rec. I don't really know where to begin. So I watched the, as you had suggested, Bob, I did go back and I watched the, March,
I watched the November 11th, yeah,
November 11th.
November 11th, yep. I watched it as well.
And, I'm sort of perplexed, and I sent a bunch of questions on the doc itself. And I'm sort of perplexed as to why we ended up where we are. And it sort of seemed like if I took it away, we wanted to do a warrant article, but we couldn't do a warrant article because we already bought it. And so, I mean, I don't understand, I guess I'm having a hard time figuring out what the justification was for buying it outside of having, the money appropriated by the voters. So,
I mean, I looked at, I watched the video, and then what I did was, I went back and I was like, so you as selectmen have every right to move money around within budgets. I mean, that, you have that ability. But that's an operating budget that now a capital expenditure has happened without the permission of the town voters. It wasn't a repair and maintenance. If it was a repair and maintenance, you would be repairing and maintaining something that already existed. That was replacing something. That was not, and that wasn't part of Park and Rec's operating budget. And also the tone to the point was, the budget committee is here to, we have a fiscal responsibility. The town put us into place many years ago, so we have a fiscal responsibility. And the tone at that particular meeting was basically, you said this earlier, was to discount the budget committee, to give us absolutely, to undermine our quote unquote authority. But we're just here to do a job, just like you guys are. And some of the comments that were made were, I rewatched it because I'm just like, we're supposed to be working here as a team. We're trying to be fiscally responsible for the voters. And on one side, oh yeah, it should be a warrant article, but the budget committee's gonna, and for the 38 people that are gonna watch this YouTube, I want them to go back and I want them to watch the third. I don't watch it all the time. I just don't have time. But it was like insulting the budget committee. And that's not what we're here for, and that's not our job, and it was very off-putting to say the least. But more to the point, that is a capital expenditures that should have gone to the voters, because it's a lot of money. And,
yeah, no, I think the one thing that I find to be disconcerting is the notion we're gonna bury it in various and sundry line items. And, so that we don't have an issue with the budget committee. Those are the words, come back to yourself.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's problematic. So, I don't really know what the answer is yet to what we're gonna do on it. It actually is very concerning to me. I think it's something that has not been handled in the best way. So we're gonna have to figure out what that is. And I will. And I'd like to know what line items you're burying them in. Well, first of all, I guess you guys have anything to add, let's say.
Yeah, essentially, we saw an opportunity to save the town money. If we had gone the route that you're suggesting, it would have ended up costing more money. And we saw money that was available in the Parks and Rec budget to put the deposit down, get this thing off the ground, and do it. If we'd waited until town meeting, it would have cost the town money.
So, I mean, I'm always looking out to save the town money. I question how much money we did save for the town, because we didn't got any other bidding or competitive pricing on that dock system. But I don't think, if we were to use that as the standard, then we would just appropriately spend money without the voter approval. I don't think that's what, either DRA or the RSA's. In fact, the RSA is specifically deals with these kind of issues. So, I mean, it truly is a violation on, RSA 32(8).
We bought 8 sections, right?
I believe so, yes.
So what's the cost of each section?
I don't have the
I wouldn't begin to know.
And when you say,
Could we find out?
Hey Gary, can I just say something?
Yeah.
We didn't buy 8 sections. We bought an entire dock system.
Uh,
Let me finish.
Yeah,
With anchors into the ground,
yeah.
with new anchors, new placement, new dock system for the entire dock. It's like saying we've been bought a new fire engine with, and we broke it out by piece.
Well, I see this just a little bit differently, okay? I think I'm somewhat familiar with these dock sections. They can be configured in a number of different ways. And what I heard last week was that indeed these may be configured differently from one year to the next, or depending upon how the swim program's going, it might be desirable not to have it set up so that there's 4 on each side and a total of, I think there's 8 pieces. And these docks are meant to be reconfigured. In fact, in some years you may not even use all of them. It could happen that way. I think it's more of a borderline situation in terms of whether they should be capitalized or not. That's my thinking. But I do want to know what the unit cost was, because if they're something in the order of, I don't know, $4,000 each or $2,000 each, that makes a little bit of a difference, okay?
I mean, I don't remember the total number off the top of my head. Roughly.
I'm not trying to condone the idea of what the other issue that's being raised here is, how the decision was made. I mean, I really don't know how invoices are approved or that type of thing before they're paid, in the town. My concentration has always been on just forming the budget based on a reasonable rationale of what we believe the expenses are going to be in the coming year. So this is a little new to me to be looking at how we actually expend, the money as a watchdog kind of thing. But I do see this more of a borderline situation in terms of whether they're capitalized or not. So if I could get the unit cost, I'd appreciate that.
So it absolutely, guys, so we're clear on this, is absolutely within the budget committee responsibilities.
I'm not disputing that. I'm really not.
but the other thing
I'm
though,
just saying
Gary,
it's new to me, that's all.
but Gary, that buying a new dock system is not within their operating budget.
There is a line item for maintenance, and being a little bit familiar with these dock sections, they don't hold up well.
But they haven't
And they-
replaced them for a
And
long
they are,
time.
and to me, I mean, I'm not sure where the line is on this, okay? Excuse me, just a minute.
Yeah.
So these apparently cost $1,200 each section, if I'm looking at this correctly. Audrey, is that
Yes,
right?
that's the way I read it also.
Well, I just feel that knowing how the Parks and Recs operation is and how it evolves during the summer months, I can see how this kind of led into this. And the unit cost is very low. So that's just the way I see it.
And Dennis has an expendable line from the revenue that he receives. And I believe most of that money was coming out of that line.
Okay.
That he has the authority to spend.
From the revolving fund.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how does that all work, Bob? Can you just walk through that? How did that come to be, and why is it that when the town provides, provides all the services, so how the revenue gets squirreled away into a different account?
So there's a few different departments, the town can vote on for Conservation Commission, Parks and Recreation, and the Agricultural Commission. And the Parks and Rec specifically in Ag, I don't even know if they need a town vote, they can have a revolving fund. It's worked with the treasurer, so all the fees from, I don't know everything he charges for fees, but say dodgeball has a fee, or basketball, or cornhole, or swim lessons, then all of that money goes directly to the treasurer, and he maintains that account. Then the Parks and Rec Department committee, or commission, they approve spending from that account, and the treasurer cuts a check to the bands, I think it was $5,000 towards the docks.
So
And
what-
he hasn't spent a lot of that money that he's taken in over the years.
Could we go
So
back?
this was an opportunity, again, to spend down some of that money that he's been taking in.
So what is the, what created that? We don't, do we have a Parks and Recs commission?
Yes.
Yes.
And so what was that created by?
Oh, you have to go back before me, I don't know how
Been
long.
around for years.
In the sixties, it was in existence, at least according to my town reports.
Who's on the Parks and Rec Commission?
In the sixties,
Who's on it now?
now, Eileen Gill, Zach Tufts, people I saw upstairs I don't recognize.
Parks and Rec, it's Parks and Rec Department.
No.
Commission.
No, it's commission.
It's, but it's the members of the Parks and Rec Department.
Yes, and Dennis is the,
Sarah Warner is
uh,
on.
yeah, I don't know.
I was on
those two.
Parks and Rec when I first started with the town. I was on Parks and Rec. We did not have a
Revolving fund.
no such thing existed.
And how long ago was that?
If I may,
It's been a minute.
I'm not pleased with the way that this was handled. I've watched the meeting. I understood the urgency of the situation to save money. I believe everything that was done in good faith, even though it may have been done incorrectly. How you get around it, I would say, let's not do it again, for sure. But at this point in time, I think we need to move forward with getting those docks purchased and installed in spring.
So where do the docks, I hear you guys, so where do the docks go? Where, I wanna understand, I wanna follow the money, so I wanna understand exactly where the money is. What was really disconcerting was the notion of burying it in various accounts that was being discussed. So I just thought, that to me just does not feel good at all. So I work here under a very high level of trust on what's going on, and to hear that conversation was, quite frankly, chilling.
I take exception to the word burying it.
Yeah,
Well, that was,
same.
those were the words, like, we can go pull it up right on the screen. Right? And specifically not to show it to the budget committee. So I mean, those were the words that were said. I mean, that's just not how we operate. We haven't operated with you that way. I mean, there's nothing I don't tell you that I'm not thinking, I'm like an open book on stuff. So I really, it was not, so, anyway, I think to Guy's point, let's move on. But I'm happy to sit down and watch the recording with you.
I'd make a motion to approve Parks and Recreation number 4520 in the amount of $79,188.
Second,
Discussion, I want to confirm that there's no dock money in this budget, right?
I think there is.
No, there isn't, because I know when I listen to the recording.
Oh, you mean there's no line item?
There's no spend in here. There's nothing that's listed
Well,
in here.
mine showed a little different, and I have a note in the margin, so we better make sure we're clear on that, hold on.
We're at 79188, right?
Hold on just a second, please.
The $5,000, is that for the docks?
It's for install in the spring, which we're gonna be responsible for going forward.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure, is that just for the install, or is that for,
That's what I'm talking
I believe it is for, Zach Tufts. I think I watched the budget committee, so I wasn't in the room when it ended, and he talked about his effort in spring and fall.
How do we know?
we don't, it didn't get shopped around.
The only thing I can say in defense of that question is that, like I said, I have a little familiarity with these, and I wouldn't say that they're standard pricing, but they are an item that's readily available from a number of different sources, and the price variation is not huge. You know, they're aluminum construction with foam billets. Typically, one would go to a supplier that will provide reputable service in installing it and delivering them on time and transporting them accurately to the site, that type of thing. And I have no doubt that this company is Center Harbor is qualified, but you're right, there may be other qualified sites. What I'm saying is that there may not be a very different cost in terms of materials.
So I would like to know where I'd like to get
Installation?
No,
No, but the whole premise for this, start of this process was the urgency.
Yeah.
But we don't really have a basis for the urgency unless you guys have information about it was gonna cost us 20% more if we waited, or do we know that? I didn't watch the meeting, so I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly, I can't recall the details, so I would.
There was a considerable cost savings in purchasing now, and letting them get over and put the anchors in the water before the lake froze. That was the push, basically. And by doing that, they gave us a considerable discount. I think it was 10%, I'm not sure of that, but
5%.
it's, even 5, but anything, saving money is always good, however. It was rushed, and again, I'm willing to forgive this one. Let's not let it happen again. So, I made a motion. Did anybody second
On this
that?
quote, it says, delivery, installation to, at 19 Mile Bay, zero cost.
Yeah.
So it's buried in all the cost of materials.
Well, it's included.
Included.
Fine. Let's not use that.
Let's only say that word for
Yes, we'll use that for cemetery work.
A second,
Do you want this back?
take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. Going through, oh no, we're running late, so, do we have any table budgets left? I don't think so, right?
You made excellent progress tonight.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Capital reserves, I unfortunately, when I sent it to Ashley, for some reason I sent one page, not the entire, only one page went, so I apologize for that. But I think we should all spend, we're just gonna be meeting with CIP, next week, it's a joint meeting. And I just wanna give you a little bit of a highlight on the capital reserve account. It's sort of the same format that we did last year. We're pushing very hard to get the fire department vital equipment included in the capital reserve calculations going forward. The big expenditure really that the selectmen are gonna have to wrap their minds around, and they may have already, is the Rescue One truck was built on a frame that's inadequate for the weight of that truck right now. And so the proposal is to buy a new 550 versus 350, I don't know the exact term of it, but to buy a much bigger chassis that will be safe to put that on. It extends the entire life of Rescue One out a lot further. It's a big ticket item, it's $325,000. I think it's like a semi-truck almost. And then you'll take the existing Rescue One, and that will move on to become Forestry One. So we'll use that chassis on there, and they'll take the Forestry One chassis and just make it into the truck that they drive around when they gotta go check fences or alarms and stuff like that, so they don't put miles on other police department vehicles. When you parse through it, why it may not be all that good, it actually makes a lot of sense in what they're suggesting, but that requires additional funding in the current year.
And is that includes a transfer of the bodies onto the chassis and everything?
Yeah. So it's $350,000 in total, including putting Rescue One, Forestry One, I mean, onto the existing.
I use the word buried, but I just want to know where.
Yeah. So, So that's that, and then, the rest of it is sort of consistent with what we saw last year. And, I think a lot of work went in, I actually am very worried about what's gonna happen. And I think the selectmen probably want to take a long look at CIP, because I think both Jill Cromwell and Tom Young are not gonna be involved anymore. And they've done some pretty amazing work in this, but I would hope that we can follow, when we think about our warrant articles, we can follow these capital reserves. So, there you have it. We don't have to review year-to-date expenses, review status of funding of money warrant articles. Board of Selectmen update. There are a bunch of open questions on which I think, Audrey, you're following up on the warrant articles. The response you sent me has open items on it that need to get resolved, so I'm assuming you're following up on those other open items.
I have to double check.
Okay, but I think she got back, there were things that were in her incorrect account, so we should make sure that all gets corrected. And maybe it'll be worthwhile for next meeting to print out an updated status report of that. Okay. Board of Selectmen update?
Yeah, Bob, I'm gonna need your help on this one because I haven't talked to Chip lately. Or Audrey, can you speak to the police station solar? Because I know the solar is under construction, but I don't know any details beyond that.
So they've trenched in the, underground conduit at the transfer station, and Chris Rule was saying today how, they were able to bring it up and along the building in a, aesthetically okay way without blocking windows to be able to get to the electric pole, and they should be starting footings hopefully in the
For the
snow
panels.
anytime.
Footings for the panels?
Yes, that's the solar, and, Bob, you should have received an amendment to sign.
I did.
A DocuSign,
I did that today.
so,
No cost change.
yes.
It was just a change in equipment.
Yeah. The police station, he wasn't in the last meeting. He's coming Wednesday to the work session, but the electric and security and IT is the next thing being done. All those will be done by the first of the year. And then the first of the year, the, interior starts getting sealed up.
Can we get the next time, can we get an update on the cost to date? And I'm sure you guys have the budgets to complete and all
The
that.
expendable trust has been, it's at zero.
Yeah.
Just at spent, so they just requested that from the trustees.
So we'd be good to see that, and then also, do we get DES approval on, are we all done with DES on the
Yeah.
solar side?
Yeah.
Solar side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, oddly, choose your adjective. We were struggling with the DES all summer, trying to get an answer. We got a letter, October? Sometime in October.
I think it was November. It was
Maybe even November.
Yeah.
It was 11th hour that said, never mind, you're good, go ahead.
We could have, we could have.
Could have had it built.
At least a good ways along.
Yep, probably cost us about 6 months.
What's your tax dollars at work for you?
So naturally, they're mobilizing and getting things going now.
Great, awesome, that's good. All right.
I think it's a program called the Safe Harbor, that the town's in that will, ensure that we get the rebate from the feds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been, that, whatever federal money has been protected.
Good. All right, anything else? Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Next meeting is next Tuesday?
Yep.
Tuesday at the fire station.
Fire station or townhouse?
Fire station.
Fire station.
It's a much nicer room to
6
have
p.m.
that meeting.
Do we need to
Joint
update-
with the CIP.
Is that up to date